Go ahead.
All right. Well, good morning, all of our Zoom friends. I figured this morning we would start out talking about death. I figured that's a good way to begin our Tuesday mornings. And basically what happens when somebody dies and you're then tasked with trying to sell this real property. There's a couple of different scenarios. We've had this come up recently. So just a bit of a refresher for maybe some of you that have heard this before and those of you that haven't. Hopefully you get something from this. But that happens quite frequently. Someone passes and then you've got folks that want you to help them sell this real property in this market. It'll help you to know kind of what to tell them, what to prepare them for. Obviously, have them reach out to us. That's always a good way to do it. Send me an email and just put them directly in contact with me, and we can kind of talk them through the situation. But there's two different ways it usually plays out. Sometimes there's a will. The person that has passed away and owned a home has some written instructions basically for what happens when they pass. And so in the situations where you have a will, there are oftentimes there's listed an executor under the will, and they are given the ability to carry out the decedent's wishes. So in the instance where you're contacted by the person who is the executor, oftentimes, and it's going to depend on what the will says, but if the will provides that I directed the executor sell everything and distribute everything to John Hopkins, or everything to the kids, I want everybody to divide it equally. And I want John as the executor of the estate, and I want him to carry that out. So in an instance like that, where you have an executor listed and they're given an explicit instruction and authority to sell the real property, in that case, the executor can carry it out, and that person can be the one that signs everything, signs the listing agreement, signs the contract, and they can do it all in the estate of such and forth. So, you got Joe Blow owns the real property and he passes, and his son, John, is listed as the executor in the will, and he's got the power and the authority to sell the real property. If he's going to do that as the estate, then everything would be in the, you'd have his name as the executor of the estate of Joe Blow. And so he could sign everything at that point. And what he's going to need to do is set up an appointment with whatever court is wherever the house is situated. So he's going to have to set up a probate appointment, have to go down, get the original will, send all those documents down there and get qualified with the court in order to basically carry that out. So there's some steps involved, but if you're looking at trying to capitalize and he's ready to move and get this home sold, you're able to kind of go forward on those terms. Another situation that we'll see is sometimes the will provides that I want everything to my three sons or my three children, and everybody divides it equally. Well, in that instance, even if there is an executor listed, real property is treated differently in Virginia than personal property, things you can hold, cars, vehicles, etc. And so we have a situation like that where it clearly spells out that these folks, or I'm leaving everything to my nephew, Sean. Well, in that case, or leave my house to my nephew, Sean. Well, in that case, the home automatically vests in the name of the folks listed there. So you could have a situation where, the home and everything is entitled at that point in the name of, who's listed in the will, the devisees, the persons that are, enumerated in the will to take title to the property, or just all the beneficiaries themselves. If they're sharing in them equally, then you would have basically all three of them sign the listing, have all of them sign the documents, which obviously becomes a little bit more of a headache. But that, and honestly, that's going to be a little bit easier way to do it. It's going to make the other side, their title company, feel a little more comfortable with it. Title companies like to avoid risk, and so if they can get everybody signing, then there's less of a chance that somebody comes back afterwards to say, "Hey, I'm not okay with this," or "There's a problem." So it's going to depend on the language that's in the will. Either it'll specifically enumerate that an executor has the ability to carry out and to sell the real property, or it could list everybody as the owners of the property at that point. And so then they would be the ones, the people listed that would have the ability to sell the real property. In both of those first instances, they will require a probate appointment to have somebody go down and qualify. But sometimes, and this is something that comes up, you'll have, maybe there is no estate, mom's got, everybody listed on her bank accounts jointly. She's got beneficiaries designated for any life insurance policies, and all there is this home. And, you've got folks that may want to know, well, do we need to set up a probate appointment? Do we have to try to wait in line and get down there and qualify? And there are instances where if it's cut and dry, everything to my 3 children, where no, that person, you wouldn't have to have them go through the extent of qualifying with the court. They could simply record the will in the land records if there is no estate. And basically, if a will says that I want my house to go to my 3 children, and that's it, there is no other estate to speak of. Everybody can access the bank account, the money, and the life insurance and everything. In that case, there is no point in having to get a probate estate started, having somebody qualify as an executor. Basically, that will just gets recorded in the land records, and it shows that these 3 folks or this person is the owner of the real property at that point. And that's a straightforward way to go. And in that case, you would just have those individuals. You wouldn't mention the estate of. You wouldn't have her name listed. It would just be in the names of those folks that inherited under the will. And then the other instance that will happen, sometimes you'll see this, there are folks where they don't have a will. They didn't plan. It was an untimely death. It always seems untimely, but basically where, they never got around to actually putting it in writing what they wanted to have happen to the property. And in that case, you've got to, that's when you'll actually need for sure something to go down to the court. The person that gets to go down to the court at that point is called the administrator. And basically they are, once they qualify, they go through the steps with the court, they become the administrator of the estate, and they have to have a court order in order to sell real property, in order to sign a deed and convey title to the property, clear title. They're going to have to get an order from the court that says that they have been empowered with the ability to do so. And in that appointment, when they set it down, it's going to basically, they're going to have to list out, what the assets of the estate are, that there is a home titled in the name of the decedent, and that they need the ability to sell that home in order to distribute it to whoever is the owners at that point. And so the administrator handles that process. And in that case, the court, in order to clear title, they're going to require what's called a list of heirs. And that's a document that states, these are the folks that, she passed, had 2 daughters, mom died, there are 2 children. Those 2 children were her only children, and they would be the owners in accordance with the statutes here in Virginia that provide sort of a course of descent. What happens when somebody dies and they have a surviving spouse and no children, or children, no surviving spouse, et cetera. And it kind of lays down step by step who becomes the owners of the property. Something else that's going to be needed. So that person will need to qualify. Somebody will need to qualify as an administrator. And they'll need to file a list of heirs. And then also what the title company is going to require are 2 disinterested witness affidavits. So, and that's something just to go ahead and get in, you don't want to get to closing and find out, hey, we need these 2 affidavits. That's something to go ahead and start working on sooner than later. Basically, it's going to have to be two people that knew the decedent and that knew and can state under oath that, yep, she only had two children, or she died with no children, or, whatever the case is. And those are folks that, and basically it's just a form that we prepare, just stating that, yep, she died on this date, left no children. And as far as they knew, there were no will. Oftentimes the witnesses aren't aware of those facts, but they can usually testify, or they'll state under oath that, yep, they died, and yep, I was a friend of one of the children, and I know that those were her only kids at that point. So those are the things that basically, you'll need to keep in mind whenever you have a situation where somebody has passed. So when we get the email, hey, how do we list this thing? The first question is going to be, well, was there a will? And if there was, we need to see the will, specifically, what does the will state? And then also figure out what, kind of the plans are, what assets were there. That's going to determine the next step. Either can they just record the will and not have to worry about qualifying and going through that process as becoming an executor, or can they just record it in the land records and go from there? So those are the two situations that you'll see. And again, obviously the easiest thing, let me put you in contact with the attorney, and, send me an email, give me a call, and, we'll look at what they have and be able to advise you as far as how to get that thing listed. So that's what I had on, death and real property. Did anybody have any questions on that before I move on to the next topic?
Hey, Austin, while they're looking at the questions real quick, Bill just popped on. So while they're thinking of some questions before we hit the next one, Bill, are you there? Bill Crespo, are you unmuted? He's on everything. There you go. Okay, Bill, go ahead and talk. I'm going to let them think of some questions for Austin, and then Austin could pop back on as soon as you're done.
Sorry, Austin. I got to get on a coaching call real quick. I just want to tell you guys a couple of things. We talked at Christmas time about the marketing and the digital things that we're doing. Finally, we have the team developed, the crew. It's going to save you a ton of money. Digital marketing is completely much more than what you think it is to actually do it right. Did a lot of studying and research. But let me see if I can share my screen really quickly. And here is 6G Marketing. It is going to be the place where you can order what you need. We'll be working with logo design, guys. I've got some people that for like 50, 60 bucks, they can create some stuff for you. So we have the right types of people to understand how to be able to help you with your business digitally. It's much more complex than it makes it seem, because just boosting doesn't do it. Actually, you're losing money by just boosting if you don't connect everything. Everything should have a call to action to it. So we're going to talk about creating funnels and how you create a funnel from bringing people in on a blog and then keeping them into your funnel and making sure that they stay in this ecosystem. So basically what you have is a world out there that has to come into your world, right? And those people, as they come into the center, let's say the center is them paying for something, right? So we're going to be able to give you different types of tools to draw people to you and keep them in what we call your ecosystem, right? Because there's two methods out there. There's inbound and outbound. Inbound would be your digital stuff. Outbound would be, yes, the P word, prospecting. That everybody loves to do. So we're going to have to prospect. But what people don't understand, even companies don't understand, that you have to create a funnel, a way that people connect into your digital marketing and keep them into this ecosystem where you're constantly, for lack of a better word, baiting them into closer to the middle. When they're in the middle, they buy from you. And these are your loyal database people that will give you referrals and things like that. So it's complex. There's funnels that are created that continues to send them emails and things to move them closer to the center. So we understand that. I've got a team out of in the Philippines that just focuses on digital marketing. and how they could actually help you set up your website to be able to capture people in it by having an opt-in, right? Everything that you do in marketing should have a CTA. Anybody know what CTA is?
Call to action.
Way to go, Holly. She wins. All right. So anyway, that's what we have to have. Everything you do, even if you're at an appointment, when you go to an appointment, you need to set up the next appointment. You can't go, well, thank you so much, Holly, for coming by. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And you leave. You're always closing. So everything you do in marketing and everything you do in sales connects to the next event. So last thing I want to say, and I'll get Austin back on, is that every Monday and Friday at 12 o'clock, we're teaching something that you probably will not get anywhere else. Almost guaranteed. So this month is all about questions and how to use questions in the right situations when you're prospecting and when you're delivering your presentation. So guys, it's free to you guys. There are other offices. We just hooked up Atlanta. Atlanta's now on Thomasina, so they'll probably be calling you up. We're getting Illinois coming on board, a couple of the market centers that are coming on Mondays and Fridays to learn. And it's supporting really what the PC people are doing for your mentors and everything. This is supposed to support what they're doing to get you into the game and getting more money quicker into your pocket. So please take advantage of it. And I know you're busy. We're all busy. I think that taking some time out and taking this thing to the next level, and there's a lot of Zoom stuff going on. So select obviously the things you believe that's going to help you. What else do I have? I think that's it. That's all I want to say. I got to get on a coaching call, but thanks so much, Austin. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry. Oh, last thing. If you haven't picked up this book, The 12-Week Year, this is for any business. What happens is that we're in 90-day cycles in your production, right? We just went through one first quarter. Now we're halfway through second quarter. This is about optimizing your 12 weeks and every 12 weeks so that you're not catching up on third quarter or fourth quarter or whatever quarter, that every 12 weeks you're in a focused discipline. So this is not just related to real estate. There are two books you can get. You can get the book or the field guide. I highly recommend you get the 12-Week Year field guide first. And it shows you how to get more production done in a tight 12-week period. That's what we're working on for coaching. And so if you're interested and need more information, give me a buzz. All right. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Go ahead, Austin.
All right. No worries. I thought of one other thing that folks will need to be aware of when selling real property for somebody who's passed is if that person has died within the past year, that they're selling the real property, there'll be two options for what happens with the money. One, they can wait so they can go ahead and sell the property and then have all the money held in escrow until the 1-year anniversary has passed, which nobody wants to do. Or they can pay what's called an extra hazardous risk premium that the title insurer will charge. And that is $2 per 1,000 on the sales price. So, $500,000 home, multiply the, $500 times $2 basically to figure out what that is. And basically what that covers is anytime someone passes, there's a 1-year statute of limitations to bring any claims against the estate. So if the risk that the title company has is somebody passes, the heirs go ahead and sell the property, and then somebody comes and brings an action against the estate for a debt of the estate, then that could be an issue where they try to reach back in and pull some of the proceeds from the sale. And it could result in some litigation that the title company has to be responsible for. So that's something else you just want to mention. Anything, out-of-pocket expenses are a good thing to kind of prep your sellers for. So something to be aware of. If the 1-year anniversary has not passed and it doesn't look like it will pass by the time this home gets sold, kind of prep them for that expense, $2 per 1,000 on the sales price. Okay. And then we had another situation come up with an agent recently where we had a client that I guess the seller in this case just was crazy. And you'll work with people like that. Whatever it is going on, it's just And I think so. And I've had certainly instances like this over the years where you just, some of the interactions, they leave you going, okay. And some of the things that this person was saying is, you know, when people came in and looked at the house, things were moved. You know, they noticed that, you know, somebody came in and moved some things around or shifted them, unplugged some things. I had a client that swore somebody was coming in, sneaking into her home and unplugging things or moving things around, not taking anything, but just, you know, daily coming in there and sneaking in and out before they can notice it. You know, anything like that where there's a high tension or maybe a high drama, you know, you kind of leave every conversation feeling amped up, like, what's going on here? Those are situations where, you know, it may feel like you're turning away fun, you know, you're turning away a commission or, you know, in my case, turning away billable hours. But ultimately, you know, the times that I've stuck through and tried to help folks like that, it ends up being just more of a drag on my energy and on my time. And so those are cases where, you know, from the outset, you see red flags and you see, you know, somebody who's got a little bit more propensity towards drama, try to incite or inflame things. You know, those are cases where it's just best to say, you know what, you know, I don't think this is going to work between us. You know, you keep it professional. You don't get down in the mud. You don't try to, you know, go back and forth or get defensive on things. If, you know, the minute you can tell things are sort of going south, then you say, hey, you know what, I apologize. You know, I've had cases where I gave them back the deposit, the retainer, said, hey, yeah, I could tell, you know, we don't have really a good relationship. So I think it's best we just kind of go our separate ways. And just kind of, you know, cut your losses at that point. So that was kind of what I learned and kind of what I saw in this situation here. I thought, you know, this is probably not somebody you want to work with. Best to just go ahead and cut ties, you know, let them go somewhere else. And I'm sure that can be tough in this market, but I think it works out better that way. You know, the last thing you want to have is a client that gets all the way to the closing table and decides, I'm not comfortable. I'm not signing because of, you know, whatever. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that, Thomasina.
Perfect.
And I was gonna add to that particular situation because I was privy to what was going on, and the thing of it is, especially like you newer agents, when you guys are talking to clients and stuff like that, people like this, when you first meet them, they're going to be nice to you. So you're thinking, oh wow, this person's a little off, but at least they like me. What you have to understand, though, is it's not a matter of if they turn on you, it's when they turn on you, because they always turn on you. It's never going to be a thing where they trust you wholeheartedly and you're going to get them to the closing table and you're going to win the deal and you're going to pat yourself on the back because you handled a difficult client and everything went as smooth as it could go. It's never going to be that. So when you see these red flags, because it's not a matter of, oh, well, they were nice, they didn't act like this is a completely different person. No, they showed you flags ahead of time and you chose to ignore them. So you see the flags, you ignore them, you get yourself in the situation. Well, what do you do next? And in this particular situation, it happened over the weekend, so it made it really hard to get legal advice on what the next step was. But what a good practice is, period, but especially with clients like this, is after you've communicated with them, make sure, whether it's phone or text message, that you communicate with them, that you send a summary email afterwards summarizing what y'all's conversations were, because you have to make sure that you're dialoguing and keeping track of everything that you're doing so that you're prepared later. Because in this particular situation, this person lashed out and said that they were going to sue everybody, and you want to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to protect yourself. And sometimes ignoring them escalates the situation further than what it should, but sometimes making sure that you don't misspeak is more important than taking that phone call. So you really have to be careful what you say, how you say it, and stay on the side of professional, but like don't get caught up, because all they're going to do is try to get you to slip up and say something that you're not supposed to, and then you're never going to hear the end of it. So if you can avoid working with them altogether, do so. But if you find yourself in this situation, just make sure that you are setting yourself up, get the necessary people involved, get the right advice, and don't do anything stupid.
Thank you, Holly. Does anyone have any questions for any of that?
No, I want to say thank you, because there's already been a couple of situations where I got some bad feelings, and it just makes me feel better knowing that what Holly said about, you know, go with your gut. You know, I had that situation where somebody was trying to get me into their house, seemed very nice, wanted to help me next door to a place that I was showing a house to, and was part of an association, you know, and I don't know, I just got, it was like, no, I really can't go in there. I'm doing an open house. And I just kind of walked away from helping with that deal further. And I felt guilty, but at the same time, I don't know, something seemed off, you know? So I appreciate being told that.
I know that you had asked who the authors are. If you look up the books on Amazon, it'll tell you who the authors are of those books.
Sometimes when he suggests something, I can't find them. That's why I asked, but I'll try. But thank you.
All right. If not, just send me an email and I'll send it to you, because I've been able to find all the ones he's had. So I can do the search for you, or the Google search or the Amazon search, and send it to you.
Okay. Is that Thomasina talking?
Sure is.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else have any other questions? All right, Austin, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Nikki, you want to go ahead?
Hi, everybody. I'm here to talk about Red Day that's approaching soon. It is on Thursday, the 13th. Red Day was started in May of 2009. It is that day that all Keller Williams across the board take the day to pour into the community. It is renew, energize, and donate within the community. I want to make sure I said that correct. And so we will be, we've chosen the Seton Youth Shelter, where we will be cleaning their yards and putting mulch and taking out the weeds, planting flowers. I know a lot of you have donated money so we can get all the supplies. We will be meeting at 9:30. I know there was a little bit of confusion, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 9:30, but the shelter has asked us to meet them at 9:30. They will go through a little run through about the organization and tell us what they are doing. And also we will need to sign a confidentiality form, just because, you know, the kids are involved. They don't want us to take pictures of the kids if they're passing by. And we're going to have a lot of fun because this is a local center that we're going to be pouring into. We're going to be all together. Hopefully the weather's good. And yeah, we're going to really have a good day. I know Holly has arranged for lunch after, so it'll be a great day to give back to the community. Anybody have any questions?
I do. Are we wearing anything to kind of look like a team, or?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that. Some of you might have Red Day t-shirts from the past. And if you don't, just wear a red t-shirt. This time it was, we were able to organize this at a very short notice. Due to COVID, not many centers are letting us, you know, use the facility, and there's a lot more things that they require. So this was kind of last minute that they were able to let us come in and help out. So we weren't able to get t-shirts as a group. We will plan better for next year. So right now, I think whoever doesn't have a Red Day t-shirt can just wear something red. And also bring some yard supplies, you know, to just rakes and shovels, whatever you have at home. So that way we can, you know, it would definitely help out with the weeding.
Bring your own gardening gloves.
Yes, thank you, Holly. Bring your own gardening gloves.
Do they need bushes trimmed or things like that? Because I'm just wondering if we should bring bush trimmers and stuff.
No, just bring rakes, and
just
all we're doing is putting down mulch and adding flowers to the flower beds.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone have any other questions on it?
All right.
Thank you, Nikki, for organizing that. We're going to have a call tomorrow at 10:30 if you want to jump on. Anybody who wants to be part of the Red Day on Thursday, just jump on the call at 10:30 tomorrow. The link is online. You can take a look at it. And we're just going to talk in depth about how we're going to do things and who's going to be in charge of what. We've got everything except for, like I said, just bring, some rakes and shovels. Just all we're doing is flower beds. So we'll just need the shovels for the mulch and then rakes to rake it out. And then if you have little shovels for the holes, I also have some too that I'm bringing. So thank you guys so much for this. I really appreciate it. They've changed the time on us a little bit, a few times. So I appreciate you guys being flexible. And then we will have lunch afterwards that is paid for. So we will be going to lunch at Quads afterwards. So we'll be there 9:30 to 12, and then we'll go to lunch, guys. So wear red if you can. And then don't forget your sunscreen.
All right.
All right.
See everyone.
Thanks, Nikki. All right, Lucy, you are up.
Good morning, everybody. First and foremost, with Brokerment, every time you load your documents, and whether you use Instanet or the Brokerment package, your documents must be split into their appropriate spots in order for me to review them. You will get a love note from Lucy asking you to split them if you do not do that. It's just too hard to keep track of things all in one 42-page document and know that we're getting things done the way that they're supposed to be done. So please split your documents, put them in the proper spots. I don't know enough about Brokerment and how you do things to go find your documents in the unsorted areas and all of that. You guys need to do that. You need to put them in the proper spot. And if you don't submit them, I don't see them. There are too many of you. I can't spend all day going through every transaction we have, looking to see if there are documents and reminding you to submit them. So make a habit, set yourself an hour or two every week to go through all your transactions in Brokerment, make sure all your documents have been submitted, because things like that make it possible for me to immediately say, your file is clear for payment upon closing. So the more you do ahead, the faster we can make sure that your commission is processed. So help me help you get your paycheck, please. And then I want to reiterate what we talked about last month. Please do not submit your documents in onesies, twosies. Don't submit your DPOR and your ACUs if you don't have a fully signed listing agreement, your SAER and your SLA. Everything needs to be submitted at once. Don't submit your buyer signed ACUs and DPOR if you don't have a ratified contract. It starts calendar and timeline processes that we can't complete and mark in a timely fashion when we get documents that aren't a cohesive, ratified situation. Okay. Back to walkthroughs. Yes, the walkthrough form says it's not a required document. Our office policy is that that walkthrough is required. If you have the buyer, you do the walkthrough, you have the buyer sign it. As long as there are no repairs outstanding that would require the buyer to be satisfied with the outcome and do the second signature, load it into Brokerment, leave me a comment telling me that you've sent it to the seller's side for signature, and we will be good to go. I know you cannot control what other people do. I get that. We may or may not get it back signed. I am simply asking that you send it and you ask for it to be signed and you let me know that you have done that. If it is our listing, you know the seller, you know where the seller is, you can prep the seller for the fact that it may come in after closing, but we require that seller's signature on the walkthrough. If you reach out to the buyer's agent and say, hey, send over the walkthrough so I can get my seller to sign it and complete my file, and they send back to you, oh, we didn't do a walkthrough, everything, or we did the walkthrough, we didn't fill out the form, everything's fine, we're good to go. Great. Take a screenshot of that, drop it in the walkthrough spot, and leave me a comment, and we're good to go. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to get another love note from me rejecting your document and asking the question. So you can save us both a step if you use the comments and communicate with me. Any questions? I didn't see anything pop up while I was talking.
Yeah, I didn't see anything either.
I just want to also add, like, you newer agents, this is what your mentors are here for. So if you add them to the Brokerment transaction properly in the beginning, they can review your documents for you. And this will hopefully save you from those love notes from Lucy. Just as much as she doesn't like to write them, you don't like to read them. So utilize your mentors to kind of review your stuff until you get in better practice on expectations on what to submit and when to submit it, and making sure that you stay on track. That's what we're here for.
Thank you, Holly. All right, Carla, go. Carla, you're next. Carla.
Okay, sorry, I had to unmute. So the only thing I have is, because Rain has changed a lot of their timelines and cut our time in half of inputting listings and updating the MLS with contingencies, making them pending, you really should start putting your documents in and submitting them within 24 hours, because we just don't have as much time to get that task accomplished. Number two, if you are turning in a contract and there's a referral on it, I know sometimes you may not have gotten it back signed, but if you could send me a message who the referral goes to and how much it is, I can complete my task of entering it in my systems while I'm waiting on the form. Other than that, that's all I have. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Also, Carla's daughter-in-law just went into labor, so Carla is going to be a grandma again here pretty soon, guys. So congratulations, Carla.
Congratulations, Carla.
Thank you. They say she'll definitely be here today.
So exciting. It's so exciting. Unfortunately, I didn't receive the numbers to give you guys who the top agents and top team were. I apologize for that. They haven't come into me yet. They're late this month for some reason. So we will get those out this week. So I apologize for that. I did get the birthdays and the anniversaries out. So happy birthday and anniversary to all those people. We didn't have it in person, but we're going to combine it next month for us to have the cake for May and June, since we didn't have it in person. This month, we're going to do May and June's birthday cake next month together. So we're going to celebrate May and June's birthday next month, even though it's late, just because we were shut down due to COVID. So does anyone have any other questions before we end the call?
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Stacey.
Yeah, so I sold a property, even though it was in Suffolk, obviously in our MLS system, but it was listed out of an agent from Bristol. Can we enter into our MLS non-MLS member listings? So I can be marked as the selling agent?
You'll be marked as selling, like it will be
similar
listed
to
in
like a FSBO, but not.
We'll enter it into our MLS.
I know Ward does that.
I'm sorry, you're all talking, what was that?
I was just saying, I know Ward does it. I don't know if Rain does it, but I know
yeah,
Ward
exactly.
Does it.
Williamsburg does it, and I didn't know if we could do it on our Rain system.
And what I was saying was, even if Rain doesn't allow us to do it, we can enter it in like a FSBO so that you get credit.
All right. So, I mean, there truly is another, you know, realtor licensed agent out there who's got the listing, but I just didn't know if I could enter it in as, because it's really not a FSBO, truly.
Right, but we'll still do it even though, because if Rain doesn't allow us to put it in, which you couldn't do anyway, Carla has to do it. It's not like war where you guys can do it. Carla has to enter it. So she'll call them today, and if they don't allow her to enter it in that way, then we can always do it as a FSBO. We've done that in the past so that you get credit. That's the most important thing, is that you get the credit.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll give Rain a call.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Carla. Good question, Stacy. Anyone else have anything else? All right. Well, happy belated Mother's Day to everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful Mother's Day weekend, and I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day week. And I will see you all in the office, or I will see you around, or I will see you at Red Day. So I will talk to y'all soon. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.